Hi everybody, Ellie here with ABC Bead Supply, and I want to take a minute today to talk to you about beadables. Biggest questions that we always get is on what beads are going to fit different beadable projects, different beadable items. We do in the description of each of these projects, we highlight and let you know in text what fits and what doesn't fit on the specific beadable. But I also wanted to just film a video for you today to hopefully clarify and really point out the differences and why there are differences across all of the types of beadable projects. What works for one may not work for the other. So first and foremost, you have your really chunky beadables. You've got your beadable wine stopper, beer bottle opener, and wine bottle opener. So all three of these items are ones that you're going to want to stick to silicone for these projects. The silicone beads are going to expand into the rod that they're being placed over. So here are some examples of two of those with all silicone beads. There's also a lot less beadable space that you're trying to fill on these. So it really kind of is okay that only silicone works, because by the time you use a focal and a couple other smaller beads, you've filled your rod. So you don't need quite as much variety with them anyway. I also really like the silicone for all three of these types because the silicone beads are washable. And so since these are all being used around potentially sticky liquids, you've got wine and you've got beer, you don't have to worry about any of those liquids getting on your project and not being able to clean them. So your silicone beads you can rinse with some water and let dry, and they're going to be fine. So for these projects, you're going to want to beadable items, you're going to want to stick to silicone beads when you're working with these projects. So those are your silicone bead is where you're going to live on these. Now where it gets maybe potentially a bit more confusing are on these keychains, the plain rods, and the pens, because at first glance it looks like all of these rods are the same, but they're not. Okay, so we have the beadable pen is going to be your most middle of the road between these three as far as your rod size and the screw size on this rod. There are not all 12 millimeter acrylic beads, and not all 8 millimeter beads are going to fit on this. We do list out in the description for the pens what fits and what doesn't fit. But not everything in those sizes is going to fit. Your 12s, your 16s, your silicone, all safe. When it comes to keychains, you have the economy keychain, and then you've got the premium keychain. Your economy keychain and premium keychain are going to be different looking at it. So these are the silver in both. You can tell right away the difference in the length of the beadable space that you have on the bars, the distance, the distance between them. You've got different ball heads. The economy ones are a little bit flat on the bottom. These are perfectly round and a little bit more substantial. Your metal, these are electroplated metal, which is going to withstand scratching and tarnishing a lot better. And then your clasp is also wildly different. It's still a lobster clasp, but the quality of the clasp, this is a much stronger clasp. This is a little bit more of a flimsy clasp, okay? So these are going to be these are your keychain options. And even at glance, there's a difference between them. But then when we look at the rod, you're going to see an even bigger difference. So the premium rod, look at how much smaller that is in comparison when you're looking at the tips. So the rods themselves may look the same, but where you really get into differences is the screw on the bottom of the rods with the component that they're holding in place. So you've got a ball, a flat ball, and you've got a pen. You've got different components that are being screwed on. And where the difference is on if something fits or doesn't fit is not actually the rod when it comes to the 12 millimeter and 8 millimeter beads. It's getting over the screw, okay? So you could measure a hole of a bead and say, well, I don't understand. It measures it against the rod. It's getting over this screw. That's the issue. So the premium keychain is what we have here in the middle. You'll see that that's even smaller than the pen. So you've got the pen rod here, the premium keychain here, and the economy keychain over here. This fits just about everything in the, not everything, that's not an exclusive everything, but it fits way more. So it's going to fit like your rhinestone 12 millimeter. It's going to fit your shimmer 12 millimeter. Some of those that just barely fit over the pen screw are going to fit over the premium keychain screw. Now the economy screw here is actually bigger than the pen screw. Okay, so not to completely complicate things, but then this is even bigger. So things that will work and are listed to work as on a beadable pen rod are actually going to be sometimes be too small of a hole to fit on the economy keychain. Okay. So the premium keychain, you're going to pay more, but you're going to have a lot less of a struggle getting your beads to fit on. And you're also just going to have an overall higher end metal that you're working with. If you are doing the economy keychains, you want to stick to silicone is always going to work. And then like your 12s and 16s are going to work. Very few 12 millimeter beads are going to fit on that. You've got a lot more 12 millimeter options with the pen and with the premium keychain, but not all with the pens. The pens are going to be still limited somewhat. And again, we have a summary in the description of the listings for what fits and what doesn't fit to help clarify that all for you in the description. Now the rods, the beadable pen, the beadable rods, they're not a pen, they're not a keychain, they're just rods that you can use to add. We add them to water tumblers, you can add them to badge drills, you can add them to bookmarks. You can choose what these get attached to. They're going to be the same as your economy keychain. So the quality of these doesn't bother me individually at all, because where the quality for me really comes into play with the keychain is this upper hardware here. So that isn't an issue, but where you are going to have a little bit more of a problem with these, and I shouldn't even say problem, it's just an awareness thing, is that you can't fit as many 12 millimeter beads or 8 millimeter beads on it, just like the economy. So these are some styles of beverage cup ones that we've done up, and you can see these 8 millimeter squares that we've listed are a really large hole size actually. So they fit all of these projects. Your silicone focals, your 16s, and then these are all silicone down here. So that's something just to be aware of with that. So you have a difference, even though these are all rods and they're all beadable rods, you do have a difference between pens, between premium keychains, economy keychains, and the individual rods. And then all of those are then different than your thicker wine and beer themed beadable projects. So I hope that helps explain things for you a little bit more and give you a better understanding. You definitely want to refer to the description of each product individually on these, because they are so dependent on the specific rod that you are working with, and it's not a one size fits all on all of these by any means. And of course, we can only verify the items that we carry directly at abcbeadsupply.com. I can tell you that there are a lot of different manufacturers out there for keychains, and you're going to get a large variation of product quality and of product style in how they're designed. So we can only speak for what we carry on our site. If you're buying items from any other external sites, we cannot verify any of those things for fit for you. All right. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great day. And if you have any more questions, just head on over to abcbeadsupply.com and be sure to check out the descriptions of each of these products.